Everything a man does begins first in the mind. Before the action, before the discipline, there is a thought, a belief, a picture of what he thinks is possible for his life. And if that inner world is ruled by doubt, then even the strongest dream will start to look impossible. Most people do not lose their dream because they were incapable. They lose it because doubt convinced them they were incapable before they ever truly tried. Doubt stepped into their mind, destroyed their confidence, and made them call surrender being realistic. They looked at the dream and said, "That's not possible for me." They looked at their past and said, "Maybe this is all I am." But they did not fail because the dream was impossible. They failed because they did not change their inner mind. That is where belief begins. Not in pretending life is easy, not in lying to yourself. Belief is deeper than that. Belief is the first act of self-improvement. It is the moment a man decides that his current life is not the final measure of his potential. It is the moment he stops letting memory dictate imagination. If a man is not careful, he will have his dream taken right out from under him. The thief in your life is not failure. Failure can teach you. Failure can show you where the work still needs to be done. But doubt is different. Doubt can stop you before the lesson ever begins. Doubt can make you bury the gift before the world ever sees it. And that is dangerous. Because a man who doubts himself long enough does not just think smaller. He starts living smaller. He stops taking the shot. He stops entering the arena. And slowly he starts calling that small life wisdom. But it is not wisdom. It is fear with a different label. But the good news is things are not fixed. Anything can change. You were not given a mind only to repeat the story of your past. You were not given gifts only to hide them. Your purpose is linked to your identity. The life you build will always be connected to the person you believe you are allowed to become. If you see yourself as weak, your choices will follow that image. If you believe your past is the limit, your future will stay trapped. That is why you must change the inner mind, because the old mind cannot carry the new life. Something inside has to shift first. You have to stop confusing where you are with who you are. Where you are now is not where you will always be. It is only where you are right now. Your bank account is not your destiny. Your past mistakes are not proof that you are finished. Who you are today is only a reference point, not the limit. You can become more. But becoming more requires you to operate from imagination, not memory. Memory tells you what happened. Imagination shows you what can still be built. Memory reminds you of the loss. Imagination shows you the lesson that can come from it. If you keep living only from memory, you will keep repeating the same choices and the same limits you claim you want to outgrow. A man has to be able to see beyond what currently exists. He has to be able to hold a vision in his mind before it has evidence in the world. Before anyone else believes in your dream, you must believe in it first, not with empty confidence, but with enough conviction to begin. Because nobody else can believe for you. That battle is yours. The hardest part of success is not always doing the thing. It is becoming the person capable of doing it. The dream will require more than desire. It will require a different standard, a different discipline, a different relationship with fear. And that is why many people never reach what they want. They want the dream, but they do not want the transformation. They want the life, but not the inner change required to carry it. But every serious vision asks a question. What must you become for this to stop being a dream and start becoming your life? That is the question that changes everything. Because belief is not only about seeing the result, it is about seeing the version of you that must be built on the way there. The stronger mind, the disciplined habits, the skill you must develop. You must visualize the person you want to become, and then take the steps to becoming that person every day. Visualization will help you draw a map toward your goal, and belief will help you take the steps toward that goal. But belief must become discipline. A man can see the future clearly in his mind, but if his hands never move toward it, the vision becomes entertainment. So see it, believe it, then build toward it every day, in the small choices, in the private work. Do this, and eventually you will start to feel confident in your path. Because confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself, not by waiting and standing still. Real confidence comes from evidence. Every time you do what you said you would do, you give your belief evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, the inner mind changes. Every time you choose discipline when comfort was easier, you prove that the stronger version of you is not just an idea. He is becoming real. But every time you break the promise, you give doubt evidence too. That is why small choices matter. They are not small inside the mind. They are either building trust or destroying it. They are either strengthening belief or feeding the old story. A man who cannot trust himself will struggle to believe in his future, because deep down, he remembers every promise he broke, every time he started and stopped, every time he said tomorrow. But that can change. You rebuild self-belief the same way you lost it, one action at a time, one kept promise at a time. That is how confidence grows roots. And courage is what carries that belief into the world. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is taking the step while your hands are still shaking. It is entering the room before you feel ready. And belief without courage will keep you stuck. Your goal will stay only a goal, a life you keep imagining but never touch. You should fear that more than failure. You should fear living with the knowledge that there was something in you that never came out because you were too afraid to move. Your gifts only reveal themselves when you challenge them. Your courage only grows when you use it. Your future does not open to the man who waits forever to feel ready. It opens to the man who moves with fear still in his chest, because the vision matters more than the feeling. Failure will come, but that does not mean the dream is dead. Failure is not final unless you decide to stop. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has lessons behind them. You will not be able to achieve your goal without a few failures along the way. So do not let failure confirm your doubt. Let it train your belief. Let it show you what must be improved. Because what looks like a loss now can become the reason you win later on. If you keep going, even pain can become material. Your mistakes, shame, and failures do not have to disqualify you. They can become part of what qualifies you to help, lead, and serve others with honesty. Because your growth will touch other people whether you want it to or not. And if you don't change, then you won't be able to help someone else who is also facing the same problem. Your perseverance affects more than your own future. The person you become can open a path for your family, friends, or people you don't even know. Until you express your gifts, you will never know the impact they could have had. That is why belief matters. Because purpose needs a willing man willing to develop what was placed inside him, a man willing to use the time he has been given before that time runs out. Because when you realize your time is not promised, you start treating the day differently. Waking up becomes a privilege, another chance to move, another chance to build. Gratitude is not passivity. It is fuel. It reminds you that the ground you have gained should be guarded. It reminds you that today is not guaranteed. So be grateful, then move. Be thankful, then build. Respect the life you have by refusing to waste it, because you may be one decision away from a different life. But nothing changes if nothing changes. You cannot keep making the same choice you made yesterday and expect a different future. The hardest part of change is refusing to repeat the old decision, the old excuse, the old identity. At some point, you have to sit honestly with yourself and ask, what is it you want? And what is holding you back from that? What belief has been limiting you? What promise do you keep breaking? The answer may not be comfortable, but it will be necessary. Because truth gives you a starting point. And once you see the truth, you can move. You can build. But to build, you need belief. You need courage. You need discipline. So stop letting doubt decide your future. Stop judging your life by the circumstances you are standing in today. Believe first. Then prove the belief with action. Keep the promise. Take the step. Build the skill. Move through fear. Get up after failure. Create meaning instead of waiting for life to hand it to you. Because belief is the first act of becoming. And once a man changes his inner mind, his life begins to follow.